Okay, hello everyone, TJ Fitness News Reviews, and today is the first episode of this joint collaboration podcast. Together with me is Shane from STACK3D. Have you ever been on video, Shane?
I have been on video twice this year, and that was the first time in 7 years since I started STACK3D.
Because I think it's crazy. I mean, STACK3D is probably the #1 name in the supplement industry as far as news, right? Everybody knows STACK3D, but I don't think a lot of people know the name behind STACK3D, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, you don't need to know the name behind STACK3D. You just need to know that we do our job, and you just need to know the name STACK3D. No one needs to know me.
I get the approach. You know, when I started the YouTube channel, because Fitness Deal News started as the deal site, right? When I started the YouTube channel, it was mostly to actually bring a face behind the site. And but I totally get it. I think you created this brand that is just, just news reporting, clean, honest, no drama, no politics, no whatever, and actually potentially having no face behind it makes sense to some extent.
That was the goal, was like, I didn't know the face behind news sites and other industries that I like. So I was like, you don't really need one. I mean, if you're trying to supply information,
that's true.
I mean, that's what people like, and that's what we do. So we try and just stick to that ever since we started.
So it's been 6 years.
Or if you're talking about the history of STACK3D, it actually started as a blog for a store. So it's
really? I didn't know that.
I don't think many people would remember that, but it was a blog store blog for like a year and a half, and then it became STACK3D because we kind of realized that it was just getting so much traffic with nothing to do with the store. So I kind of just started it up by myself, turned it into STACK3D, and it's probably been STACK3D for about, I would say, 7 years. I think it's been 7. I don't actually keep count.
Really? So supplement news 7 years ago. Same thing that we all know what STACK3D is today. Wow, man, you were way ahead of your time.
I did it in college. It was just an after school project. I didn't get any money. We didn't get paid for it for about 3 years.
Right.
3 years, 4 years, because I just did it for fun. Right. I still do it for fun, and people, and then over time it's just started to, it's nice to make money and doing what you love, and we've just put that back into going to expos, promoting, pushing it out there further. So, we always put a lot back into it.
This is great. I think, for a lot of people, I get people pinging me, probably you do the same, and people, like, when they see me do reviews and they see all the supplement stacks and they think it's all like just trying supplements every day. And people ask, like, how did you start it? How do I get to do this? And I think your point is just follow your passion, right? And do what's right, what feels right. Never stop. Work for free for a long time. Sometimes that's exactly it. And then try to monetize.
Well, I mean, if you were to do this just because you wanted to do it, like, I work 10 hours, 8 to 10 hours sometimes a day. I don't take the weekends off. The only day you'll never see anything on STACK3D is Christmas Day.
Okay.
It's the only day. Right. So that's the only day I've taken off. And if I'm sick, when I got married, I wrote ahead, so you would have still seen, I think it was 10 articles posted on the day I got married. My birthdays, it's always, because for me, people want to see it and people rely on us. And so we do our best to make sure that, there's something on there, there's something new, except Christmas Day.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Actually, Christmas days and the holidays for us, in the deals area, it's actually big days. We never stop. Like, we sit down and we're saying, hey, people ask me, so how was the weekend? I said, what freaking weekend? It's all one big line of everything looks the same. It's a hustle, but at the end of the day,
it's fun.
It's fun. That's why, yeah, exactly. I think I've been doing, I've started, we talked a bit offline, but this is probably the 6th company I'm starting. And the biggest lesson from all of it is a couple of things. First, if you're not enjoying it, you're going to stop, because starting a business is freaking hard. And half of the time you're going to want to cry on someone's shoulder. And the second thing is you need to endure, right? You just need to endure. Someone wrote a book about startups, and it's beautiful. I won't tell the old context because it's long, but he said running a startup is like, actually the quote is, I found out that doing a startup is like, it's just moving between euphoria and ultimate terror. Like one day you're feeling like the world is going to end, and the one day you say, oh shit, we got it, we nailed it. And he said that lack of sleep enhances them both dramatically.
Yes.
And that's exactly how I feel sometimes with doing, just business. But anyway, so I think for the audience, at least for the Fitness D News crowd, super happy that we connected and we're able to do this.
Yeah.
You guys, or you specifically at Stacked, has established something that I don't think exists in other industries, which is brilliant. And this industry where a lot of the stuff is somewhat biased to some extent, or there's stuff. I think the fact that you're like, what I like about Stacked more than anything else, that if you write about something, I know it's just the news as is, right? There's no fake news, there's no sponsored news, it's just news as is. You can be a super small brand and you'll get exactly the same blog post that you would get on Stacked if you're freaking Optimum Nutrition. Doesn't matter, which I think is beautiful. So I think everybody appreciates what Stacked brings, and people like, every time you announce something, like this new pre-workout, new something, immediately people like, tag me on Instagram. Hey, you need to. So my list of shit to review grows bigger by the day. Anyway, so we're gonna try and do this together, Shane and myself. Hopefully, like every week. That's the approach. Worst case, every couple of weeks because we're traveling and stuff like that. And we're gonna try and bring you. I think, generally speaking, what's new in the supplement industry. That's where we're gonna go because Shane, obviously, you're super engaged and you know the ins and outs of stuff. And have a discussion around topics of the week or topics of the day. And going to try and keep it as engaging as possible and do it on a regular basis. Obviously, you guys, a lot of the people that follow Fitness News by definition and Stacked are by definition supplement junkies. Always surprises me how many supplement junkies are out there.
Oh, yeah.
You're engaging probably with them also on a daily basis. So
yeah, man. I think supplement companies like, you had the bodybuilding websites and the fitness websites, but like, with sites like ours, it's only supplements. So, the people that are following you, they're not following you for really much anything outside of supplements. Like that's what we only share. So, it's, that if you see someone on Stacked or even looking at it, they're interested in supplements because that's all that we do.
Right. And there's a lot of people that's interested in supplements, which is really interesting. That's so talking about supplements. So one of the topics we wanted to cover today was the Olympia. Actually, this is one of the years that I didn't go to the Olympia. I had a lot of shit going on. But you've obviously, as always, you cover all the major shows, right? Europe, Olympia, Arnold, everything, right?
It's kind of the idea. We try and sort of be there to ensure, make sure basically what we do every day, share the news as it drops. Like we attend Body Power in the UK,
right,
we did the first one this year and we'll do it again next year. FIBO in Germany, which is like the biggest in the world, in my opinion.
Is it bigger than the Arnold?
Oh, hell yeah. Like it's like a 4-day show. And for me, because the first 2 days are like trade days, so like only trainers and stuff like that. But that expo is just as packed on those 2 days as the Olympia. And then on the weekend, it just gets insane.
Or more insane than the Arnold, because the Arnold is packed. Like you can, like going between one booth to another is like 5 hours.
It's about as packed as the Arnold, but it's a 2-story supplement expo.
Oh, wow.
So they pretty much, I would say they cover about 2-3 times as much space as the Arnold. And on the weekend days, it's like
really
they're just like packed out on both those days. I try not to go on those days. Try and get my stuff done on the trade show days. But yeah, man, that expo is like it's huge.
How different is it FIBO compared to the Olympia or the Arnold? Obviously the audience here, it's Americans mostly. Even the Arnold in the Olympia, I found the audience very different, right? Like in the Arnold, it's more like broad and you see students and mothers and fathers and whoever. And in the Olympia, it's more, I would say, really the hardcore audience. That's what I found at least.
Yeah, I was talking to a couple of brands because, like I said, it seemed like there were less booths, less brands this year. And, you know, I honestly felt that it wasn't as busy in terms of people. I didn't see like a line outside, but, you know, I was talking to a few guys and they made some points that were like, you know, it's because Vegas is like, it's not a place you necessarily drive to and like stay for over the week. You have to fly in, you have to like get a hotel. It's like it's a whole trip. Whereas the Arnold, like I know people that drive up in the morning, leave at night, you know, and like you can book hotels that are like cheap as hell outside of by the airport. So, I mean, I think it's a different kind of thing. Yeah. Whereas the Olympia, you just pretty much have to go to Vegas. And it's like,
also, I think also like in the Arnold, you have a lot of the, you know, like the powerlifting show and the strongman shows and the competition and you have fencing and wrestling and just like a billion people and the families come in. And like you said, like 10 hours driving, like perimeter, people would just go for a couple of days.
Yeah, I mean, it's got all those sports and people just come to see the sports, but they'll also go see the expo. It's pretty much right next door. So, I mean, the Arnold is probably my favorite after FIBO. The Olympia used to be, but, you know, over the past 2 years, I kind of felt like it got less exciting. We want to try and do Dubai Muscle Show next year.
Oh, wow.
That one, like, I was talking to a few people, and they said, you know, it's a lot of Middle Eastern brands, and, you know, that area is definitely coming up. So we were thinking about attending. It'll be a long trip, but we're trying to find more shows to kind of, you know, get a broader worldwide coverage. And, you know, we cover the Europe, America. So next one for me, I think we're trying to get to the Dubai Muscle Show.
I know there's a lot of, I see a lot of activity from India. I know a lot of our followers are from India. Probably like a lot of people pinging you on this site are from India. I see there's a lot of action. I would say like India, like people from India for us probably is number 2 after the US. I just see a lot of people from India. It's interesting.
Yeah. Our Indian traffic isn't that high actually. I don't really know. I know the industry is getting huge. I always see like videos from Kai where he's surrounded by like looks like tens of thousands of people just in the street. So I was like, you know, something's going on over there.
Chris getting stuff is going. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on there, and there's sort of. I mean, what's interesting, at least from the people I'm communicating with, I have a couple of buddies that we communicate constantly. There's really, you know, like a hardcore mentality there. You know, almost similar to what you would find in Australia and some in the UK and Germany, in the US, obviously, and Canada. But like hardcore, not just like I'm going to the gym, like the gym lifestyle, where you find supplement junkies, right?
You always it's kind of like, like the guys that, you know, just want to lift. They're not really being specific with this weight and that weight. They're just looking to lift. I think that's why Kai and, you know, a lot of personalities are just so popular there.
Yeah. I saw, I mean, you reminded me, like I saw Steve Cook was going there like a couple of years ago. Also, it was huge, like a lot of people. Yeah, I think that's I don't know if there's like a big show there, like the muscle show in Dubai and stuff like that, but that's another market that I saw. I mean, at least I'm seeing a lot of people coming from there. So the FIBO one, I just actually, because I've never been to FIBO. So how is FIBO different? Like, is the way that people consume supplements or treat supplements or consume knowledge, you see that different in Europe, let's say, compared to the US? Because in the US, like you feel, sometimes when people call me, maybe just to frame the question, it sounds like they almost envy the US because we have like so much access to so many brands and so many stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't know how it feels when you're actually there.
It's like, you get the sense that FIBO or like the brands that are there don't realize how big they are compared to everybody else.
Really?
Like it's that, like, because a lot of them will, you know, they promote that like hardcore American, like made in USA, stuff like that. But like, you know, these brands are huge. These brands are like
local brands, local European brands.
Yeah, they're like giants, and like, I mean, they sell different kind of stuff, like different kind of products do well there, obviously. Like with most countries in the world, you know, you don't really see like a pre-workout at every booth. You'll see a lot of functional food, like traditionally every corner of FIBO has like a protein pancake stand or something.
Oh, really?
Like it's it's very different products, but the audience is still very much the same. Like people at the Arnold hunting down samples, pretty much like that at FIBO.
Oh,
But
really?
there was a thing we saw. I think it was not last year, the last year, and there was a tanning booth, and they basically to get a fake tan. There was no bodybuilding show, but I was asking my friend, and he said that people go there to like get a fake tan on just for the expo, just to walk
Really?
around and look good. And I think
Oh,
that kind of
wow.
gives you an idea of how truly fanatic these guys really are over
Right.
there.
That's some serious shit, man.
Yeah, me and my wife saw it, and we were just like, there's no show, and yeah, you paid. I can't remember how much it was, and they had a line. People just coming in,
Really?
whipping their shirts off, spraying down, moving on.
Wow, that's crazy, actually. Yeah. I wonder if that would work in the US. No, I don't think
I
so, actually.
don't think it would.
No, I don't think it
I
would
don't think
work.
so.
That's crazy. Wow. And the people, like, when you talk with the supplement companies, I mean, I totally get the fact that, we called it where, like, the provincial mindset. Like, you think you're a province of the US. Everybody in like, these big industries, I know, like, I told you that I'm involved in the tech side of the world. Doesn't matter where you are almost. Doesn't matter how big you are. You feel like you're a province of Silicon Valley. Like
Yeah,
everything feels like I think in the supplement industry, it's also like that. You feel like you're
yeah.
a province of the US just because everything happens in America.
That's kind of the mindset you get. It's just they're like, oh, how does this compare to American pre-workout? And I was like, like their pre-workout rules and laws are
Oh
so
yeah, it's
different.
crazy.
And they asked me, they go like, oh, what do you think of this? And I'm like, man, I can't fairly tell you that this is as good as that what they have because it's not even close.
Right. Yeah.
They're getting much better. Like, you see them starting to do these use heavy doses, like, but a lot of them, especially the German, especially because FIBO's in Germany, you get a lot of German brands. Germany seems to be pretty hardcore with pre-workouts, like.
Really?
You'll see like I've seen amp citrate stuff, DMAA.
As recent as now? Like recently?
This year there was.
Really?
You see stuff, but like it's a pretty hardcore market. But then you just don't get the all out pre workouts like 8 grams of citrulline, 400
Right.
milligrams of
So
caffeine.
not
Like
fully
fully,
dosed. Not the
you
fully
really
dosed.
just get like a lightly dosed or a high stem or this.
But
It's
I
a
didn't know you can put DMA. Like I thought that DMHA, DMA is banned throughout Europe.
Yeah, I think it is. I think
Oh, that's not very German of them to bypass the law.
you'll
Wow.
see like I think people told me and then just like it's not allowed, but it's kind of like here. I mean in the US you see some of
Yeah,
those things.
true.
Yeah,
I
I mean
just
they're not
reviewed a
allowed.
DMA product today. I'm gonna post it in a couple of days. Yeah, and
Yeah,
obviously it's illegal, but people just do
it's,
it.
it's it's tough, especially for a consumer when you go to like I'll go to a store and I see a DMAA product and I'm like, you just wonder how the hell is this on the shelf, but like if you didn't know, if you were just someone who was just walked in, you'll just see it as a regular
Right,
pre-workout.
right. You
And
can.
it's tough for brands because they can't explain to someone why this one hits like crazy because it's got a band stem.
You know that there's most of the supplement companies at some point that carried the DMAA, and to some extent, I think it's happening also with DMHA at some point. We're getting like lawsuits from
Yeah,
people. There's trolls. Basically, it's like lawsuits trolls that go and say, "Hey, it's unfair competition." Basically, it's exactly your point, right? Just from the brand side of saying, "I can't compete with you because I'm trying to
yeah.
be legal." And you're carrying illegal shit, so I can't compete with you because your stuff will always be stronger.
It's a tough, yeah, because I mean, like I said, it is a bit tough on brands because if, like I said, if a consumer tries to be like, oh, C4 or something else quite popular,
Right,
is pretty good, and they try that, and then they have to go up against something that, has got DMA in it,
right,
the brands don't have the ability to sit there and say, like, this is why it's better.
right.
It's quite tough in that aspect, but for the consumer perspective, like for me, I walk up to a store and it's tough. It's like but I think you're getting a lot less of that now. I've noticed this year I mean, you still get them, but I don't see, anywhere near as many DMHA, DMAAs. Like,
Yeah. I think it's more the niche companies because our speciality. I mean, if if you can see that on our channel, I review a lot of DMHA and DMAA stuff, and it's less obviously it's the niche brands, right? It's this small
guys,
very small guys. Usually, 99% of them. I mean, no, 100% of them wouldn't sell on bodybuilding.com, Muscle and Strength, or whatever, right? They would sell on their own site, and usually like in retail stores. Like you go to this hardcore retail store in your neighborhood and you say, hey, give me the strongest shit you have, and you'll get this thing that will blow your head off. So, but it's not like on the mainstream sites, and they're having issues. I can tell you, like I know. They were having issues, let's say, with payment processors and stuff like that. Like
I heard about that.
Companies will take them down. PayPal will take them down. A lot of the times you'll get to these sites, and first, either they don't accept PayPal, and it freaks people out. So, by the way, people, ones watching this discussion here, a lot of the times PayPal will just ban sites that try to sell stuff like that has DMHA or DMAA. And credit card companies will do so. And so, they try to find like workarounds and stuff like that, but it's mostly the niche companies. That's why you won't see like the bigger brands. I mean, Redcon One is a great example, right? I mean, they had DMHA and all their stuff, and now it's full, clean FDA approved stuff.
Well, I mean, it's not. I don't think it's much of. It's not a very good long-term plan. Like, because that the ingredient you put in there, I mean, as cool and as powerful as they are. Like at some point, you're going to have to take them out and replace them. And for a consumer, like I said, for a consumer who walks up and is just like, looks the same on the outside and they try it, they may not necessarily know what's changed. And
actually, I don't know if you know, I mean, you probably noticed, but a lot of these brands that used to have like hardcore pre-workouts with DM something, when they did change and take it out, it was totally under the radar. Like they never said, hey, there's a new like some of them, without mentioning names, like the stuff just came out, looks exactly the same, just doesn't have that. You need to literally read the label.
No 2.0,
nothing. Same name, same everything. And if you go into the store, to your point, and you say, hey, give me that one that I had last time, and you get it. It doesn't have that shit. Yeah, it's not a long-term strategy, but I think the smaller companies don't care.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's not. I don't think it's much of a long-term plan because, like, it almost kind of they get that reputation of being hardcore, and then when they swap it out and don't tell anyone,
off it,
people will just be like, okay, and then they might lose their reputation. Whereas if you just started to create something good from the start,
I think for the smaller ones, for sure. I mean, the bigger ones. That's why I think I mean, if you look at some of these companies that have went, let's call it mass market, so like, I mean, if you want to sell your stuff on Vitamin Shop, on GNC, on bodybuilding, that you have to be clean. You can't have that shit there. So long-term strategy, it's not there. The smaller niche companies, there's always a place. I mean, pre-workout specifically. I mean, I know like our audience, probably your audience also. I'm assuming that every post you put on a crazy ass pre-workout gets way more attention than a freaking protein, right? I mean, people go.
Oh hell yeah! Oh hell yeah!
I see my reviews on YouTube. Like I post a pre-workout review. It's like people will just go crazy if it's a protein because it's a protein, right? People just like the pre-workout extreme. There's definitely a market for that craziness. There will always be.
I think the good thing about pre-workouts is that it's because it's so obvious. Like when you take a protein, like you just can't take it because it's a protein, and you can't feel like, oh, yes, this feels so much cleaner. This feels so much better. Whereas like a pre-workout, the whole idea is to make you work out better than you could without it. Exactly. So like it's something that people can actually measure themselves.
Exactly.
And I mean that's why it's such a category where people need to know what it's actually like because I could tell you that this hits like a fucking train. And people will and it'll help them. Whereas like if it's a protein, like I said, if you got bad digestion, if you got this or you're intolerant to that, it's something you're not really about to know straight out the bat.
It's very true. I think there's a couple of categories that probably I mean, get close to pre-workouts. Like the now, you know, the trendy, let's call it nootropic one, I think is also something like that. Like I take something like a nootropic, like a good nootropic, you feel it. Very much like a pre-workout. I call nootropics is basically, you know, it's like it's a pre-anything, right? It's a pre-work, pre-study, pre-whatever, I don't know what. It's the same thing. I mean, the fat burner, I mean, it's tough, right? You'll feel the energy, but you definitely won't feel your cells melting. You know?
Fat burners were all the rage back in the day. Like I remember it was all about making them like good mood, good energy, good focus. Whereas now I feel like pre-workout is just kicking its ass. And
by far the biggest category. I think it's also the easiest category. That's why I super appreciate when I see companies innovating in the supplement industry, be outside the pre-workout space. If you think exactly to your point, to innovate outside the pre-workout space is so freaking hard right now. I mean, it's just so hard. I mean, the pre-workout, because to your point, you can experience, but like, how do you innovate outside the pre-workout space? Like, how do you innovate with a protein? How do you innovate with whatever, I don't know, like with a BCAA? I mean, it's super hard. I mean, flavor, okay, got it. Now what, right? It's super hard to innovate. So when people come up with categories, I know you liked, I think, the MRE bar from Redcon 1 to say,
hell yeah.
I love it, right? And I told Aaron a couple of times, like, this is, like, what I'm super impressed with is the freaking innovation in this thing. Like, it's so innovative. There's just the approach.
Yeah. That's probably been the biggest release for me this year, was that, like, he's like, you know, the consistency of that thing is so good, and amazing. It's like you wouldn't even imagine it. I've told so many brands, they're like, oh, you know, when I test their bar, and they'll be like, oh, you know, do you notice the consistency? And I'm like, it's not bad, but like you should try this one just to see what you're up against, because like the consistency of that one. Mark's Outright bar as well. He just launched that.
Yeah, I tried it. I actually reviewed it also. I like the consistency. It feels like food. I read your review. I felt very much like yourself. I was a bit more, so I really like the consistency. And I think the fact that, I mean, it is exactly what he says it is, which I really like. Like, it's like the RX bar, you know, like the RX bar with RX bar with the MTS whey nutrition. I wasn't crazy about the macros on that one.
Oh, no, neither am I.
Not 19 grams of sugar and 15 grams of protein.
I mean, I know it's from like honey, but like,
dude, I don't take 19 grams of honey. I don't care where the sugar comes from. You don't see me drinking 19 grams of honey because it's honey. I just don't do that. So I wasn't crazy about macros, but
I aim for that 20 grams of protein, around 200 calories. That's really
exactly.
That's the amount I'm aiming for, and this one's, you know, lower protein and higher calories. So it's a bit.
Yeah, so it's a problem, right? But I think to your point, like the consistency is really nice. Also, I don't know if you tried the PES bar.
That's another good one.
That's another good. I think the three that we just mentioned, probably as far as consistency, like totally nailed it, right? I think like it's also like what I really liked about the MRE bar and the Outright bar. By the way, it feels the same. Like it's so easy on the stomach. Like that's what I like. Like there's no bloating. There's no like a lot of people that you know, anyone that ate 2 Quest bars to get knows what I'm talking about, right? You bloat, you feel the fiber coming in, you fart like crazy. It's these ones just I can have a box of this shit and I won't feel a thing with the MRE or the Outright bar. And
I think that's the good thing about categories like because like Quest, as far as I remember, like Quest was just good protein bars, and then like you had, I feel like the industry was just like, hey man, we should try and do this, and then everybody come running in, and for a while there was just like more options, and they were pretty much, a lot of them were very similar, but then eventually you started getting such creative products like the MRE bar. And, you know, I reckon you can kind of see that now with the carbonated drink stuff. Yeah. Like Bang was killing it. And then in the past year, people just,
it's crazy.
Like I said, I feel like the industry was just like, hey, man, we want a piece of this. And so they've come in and you just seen release after release. And I'm like, and it's good because you're getting brands to be much more creative. You're getting brands to do something different.
Right.
And that's where the innovation comes.
Maybe to your point, on the, if you look at the, I think you, by the way, I think you laid it down perfectly, because you said at the beginning there was Quest, right? I mean, at the beginning there was actually Oh Yeah, if you remember.
Oh
Right?
yeah,
Oh Yeah, and a couple of MetaRX, right?
yeah.
And then came Quest, really changed the industry, like took it by a storm. And then the one bars came in, and then the Pro Subs and the Crunch bars and Nitrotech, whatever, right? And then you're right, started, and then, but most of them, to a large extent, were more of the same, right? Like, and then the MRE and the Outright or whatever changed it. I think, tell me what you feel. I mean, like I think the energy drinks, right? The RTD energy drinks, the carbonated ones at least, they're sort of at the beginning of the cycle. You're getting a lot of more of the same. I'm not seeing the innovation yet. I don't know.
I think it's, I liked, I mentioned this last week with someone. It was like Miracle Labs, to me, they just killed it on flavor, and they showed you how good an energy drink could really taste. Mm-hmm. And then I feel like Cellucor came in with their C4 Ultimate, and like, you know, they proved, because I mean, a lot of the times you see blends in energy drinks, you don't really know. And Cellucor came in, and, you know, they tanked out that C4 Ultimate drink. Like, they've got full doses of pretty much everything that's in it. And they've kind of shown that, like, you know, just because you go carbonated doesn't mean like it has to be a blend or a light dose of this and light dose of that. Like, you know, they loaded that thing up.
I think so, that, but do you think that C4 Ultimate, though, I totally get what you're saying, and I reviewed the C4 Ultimate on our channel, and I mean, if you put like camp versus, I mean, it kills anything out there, like as far as what's in it. It's just no comparison. The rest are just a bunch of caffeine plus something, right? Like this is like fully loaded. I almost feel though, if they did that, like maybe I'm giving an idea here for supplement company, but I would come out with a nootropic, not a pre-workout RTD. Like I wouldn't, like the freaking beta-alanine in C4, I can't drink it while I'm driving. You know, it's not like a monster, like it's the beta-alanine tingling, and I'm sorry, I don't need pump. Give me a nootropic. Like if they did C4 with, let's say, the, you know, N-acetyl-tyrosine, some whatever, obviously like the caffeine and maybe some uperzine and all that stuff that they have there already. Just remove the pump and the beta-alanine. I think
that. It's a cool idea, but I think we maybe it'll eventually happen, but I feel like a lot of brands are doing what they're doing because, you know, they want to hit a big audience. Like from what I know, it ain't a cheap thing to do, like make an energy drink, like a pre-workout drink. So I feel like when more people come in and they want to get more creative, I think that would probably be something that would happen. But I think, yeah, with the way it is, it's just, I get the sense it's kind of heating up. I feel like a lot more are coming, and that should be, and I'm excited for what some of the things I've heard, but like, I think next year it might just slow back down, or it might just, you know, double over and just explode even more.
And maybe innovation will come in, because I'm starting to see, I mean, I think I saw that on your, you announced it basically, obviously, like you announce everything, but the amino energy one, which is the Optimum Nutrition energy drink, right? Like, which is basically, and that's sort of innovative to some extent, even though I think people were like butthurt with the 100 milligrams of caffeine versus like the 300 stuff. But theoretically, you get an amino product, like a real amino product, plus
they had that in, they had something similar in the UK Europe, at the start of the year. But like in Europe, you already have tons of that shit, and it blew my mind when I went to like a supermarket over there. I think it was in Iceland, and we were just looking.
That's where I saw it, in Iceland. Yep. The amino energy.
And like they have at the supermarkets, they had like just pallets of this like carbonated amino and carbonated amino caffeinated drink. Like there was just heaps of it, and it just blew my mind that you could get all of this so much and so easy, whereas you never really seen a carbonated amino drink in America, where like in Europe, just everywhere. It's incredible.
Yeah, I saw that. It's funny. Like, so by the way, it's hilarious. I saw that in Iceland also. We went in June. By the way, beautiful place. Whoever is watching this, probably I hear New Zealand is as nice, but I've never been yet. It's not, right? So you know New Zealand.
Well, that's because I'm from there, so
Yeah,
maybe
exactly.
I'm biased.
Maybe
But
you're biased, but that's what I heard for people that are not from there, but so both. But I can say I've been in a lot of places, and
yeah,
this is just an unbelievable place. I just unbelievable. And so I saw the amino energy there. Can tell you, like 10 years ago, I saw an amino drink in Japan in a gym. Like I had an amino
cool.
something like which was like in the US wasn't even close to that, right? Like you had Red Bull basically. So and
Yeah,
I
I mean it's a tough one. Like I mean, because you could bring something from Europe to the US, and they might not even care. They might
right,
not even think it. So I
right.
mean, it's all about just the market, how it's going, and I mean when these amino energy drinks, carbonated aminos hit the US, we'll tell if the market wants it or not because we'll see other people doing it.
I think that there's I agree. I think that there's a thing people appreciate. That's what I found, right? Like at least if you communicate it correctly through the right channels, people do appreciate getting more. So I think I'll give you an example. Let's ask just I mean, and people that are watching this comment below. Like if I gave you a bang, and I gave you a bang, same thing, like a bang flavor, whatever, a bang with 5 grams of EAA, BCA. Which one would you? I mean, I think that there's an audience that would say,
Oh yeah.
I get it. Like I appreciate the value. That's why I'm thinking. Or if I told you, hey, here's a bang, plus here's a bang with I don't know what, Nuopet and tyrosine or whatever for focus. I mean, you say, yeah, right. I think that people would appreciate it. Sometimes it's not communicated correctly, and that's why I also said like a lot of the new energy drinks, including like the America Labs, which I think did more than flavor, like brilliant work on branding. This shit just looks
Yeah.
unbelievable. Like the branding, freaking unbelievable. Like just killed it. Flavor was good also, but I think it's still more of the same as far as the value proposition itself. It's caffeine plus like a
Oh
couple
yeah.
of things, but it's caffeine at the end of the day. And I think that's where people say like, oh, it's only 200 milligrams of caffeine, bang is 300, right? And then power potion came out, and the way
Yeah,
that
it's
they,
three
sorry,
hundred, 350.
yeah, 350, but
Yeah.
people say 300, 350. Okay. I mean, the differentiation is
Mm.
not. I think that they're stuck. That's why I'm saying like it sounds like the market is still like embryonic in this phase of like, okay, how much caffeine and flavor. That's it. It's less developed around like functionality, like the bars that we talk. That went from okay, I have 20 grams of protein, you have 20 grams of protein. I have fiber, you don't have fiber. Okay, MRE bar, right? Like which is a totally different category. And I think that that's still an evolution that's probably going to happen. But you know what? One thing, let me know what you think. I think like the bar category is way overloaded right now. I mean, there's so many options.
Oh
And
yeah, it's great. I love it.
yeah, but and on the other side, I can tell you like because we're a deal site, so we know there's way a lot of deals on bars, almost like crazy ass prices. Like you can get the ProSups, my bars, and my cook, man, like dirt cheap. Like I'm talking $9 a box, right? It's not uncommon to find it, or the FitJoy that Cellucor launched, right? Like or the NutriBolt brands. Like I think that people, I guess that it's one of these things where the market, like the inventory is now ahead of the market. Like there's just so much.
I think from a consumer perspective, I love it.
No, I
Like
love it. Yeah.
I think it's great. Like
I love deals also.
yeah, you can buy like a box, and then like if you want something different, you can buy a box of a different one.
Yeah, yeah.
Whereas like I mean, you could get a different bar for every month of the year.
Oh yeah,
And
for sure.
I mean, back in the day, like with Quest, it was you really didn't have too
Right,
many options. So I
right.
mean, it's cool to see. I think it's great. I like having the different options, and it's good that you have different things to try, like the MRE bar. You may want something like that, and then you can go have it. And then if you want something like something completely different, more candy like, you could grab the My Bar. So I mean,
Right,
it's good
right.
to have that
Yeah.
variety. I think it's great.
I just wonder how it will hold business-wise, right? Like
Oh
for all these companies, that's why I'm saying we're seeing a lot
yeah,
of deals. is when you see crazy ass deals, that means that someone is stuck with inventory. So it just, but I mean, people will need to solve it. It's I think, but when the prices do go down and there is variety, you see more people consuming it, right?
Oh yeah.
Like, so then the market grows, and I think the functional food, by the way, which maybe circles back to the Olympia, I've heard, and again, like I wasn't there, but I heard there was like way more functional food type stuff in the Olympia than ever before. Was that right, or you didn't feel like? I just heard that from some of the people that actually follow you and fitness doing. So,
Oh, like I would say there were, because I mean, you saw Metrix, they had their 2 new products. So, and they're not a brand that you would traditionally see launching new protein snacks. So that made them look quite different. Quest was there. And bodybuilding.com, they introduced their new bar.
Did you try?
I think you didn't really, like, it was just a coincidence. Like, it was just brands that didn't have bars or protein snacks before brought them to the Olympia. I didn't think there were too many like snack brands. There weren't. I mean, there were a few extra ones, but like I think having Metrix ones there, bodybuilding.com's one, that kind of made it feel like that. But yeah, I mean, it seems similar to like a week where I see new functional food and protein snacks. But it was, yeah, I wouldn't say it was overloaded with them.
Not overloaded, because I got the impression. The reason I'm saying is that, like, when I was talking with people, say, "What did you see new?" That was more the idea than
yeah.
The feeling was that a lot of the new stuff was functional food, not like everything in the Olympia was functional food, but the people were introducing new products which were more functional food, which I think, to your point, is not maybe just the Olympia week; it's every week. Like,
oh yeah, it's every week. Yeah.
That's maybe the thing, right? That you're seeing more than anything else. What else was it?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
The in Europe as well. That's where, like, my favorite protein bar in the world is made in Sweden, and it's absolutely
Barbell?
Yeah.
Is it the barbell one?
It is the well, they say barbell, but
is it barbell?
The barbell one. Have you tried it?
I saw it in Iceland also.
Have you tried that one?
Yeah, in Iceland.
Which one? Because like.
Oh,
their original 2 flavors are just unbeatable in my mind. Like, they're not like great. They're pretty good consistency, but the chocolate and the caramel that they've put in that, it's like nobody compares.
I like them. I can't remember which ones I tried. It was in some grocery store.
Because the coconut one is not that great in my mind, and they had another one last year, but in the past year they've launched about 3 more. And I mean, those original 2 though are just unbeatable. Really? Like you still have, there's a bit of a chewy consistency, like minor, as little as you can get, but the chocolate taste and that caramel is just like.
But they're all over Europe, right?
They're not all over Europe. I don't know. Actually, I know there are a lot of Sweden, Iceland.
Okay, so Nordics.
Yeah, a lot of that area. But the thing is, they also have, because they own, or it's a similar company as the No Carbs company, the guys who make the drink. Okay. So they're sort of distributed in the same places. So Barbell's in the UK as well, but it's a different lineup. Like Sweden has all the exclusive flavors, and then UK has just like the first 4 or 5 or something. So they have different positions, but it's different selections in different places. Right. Sweden's the place to get them all. They got ice cream, they got desserts, they got everything. It's insane.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Oh wow.
I'm hoping to go to Sweden around FIBO specifically to try their ice cream.
Oh shit.
I was like, it's right there. It's like it's right up from Germany, but I was like, because they're not going to ship it. So I mean, I was like, I got to try it somehow.
Okay, man. So noted. You're gonna travel to eat some ice cream. That's a good excuse.
Oh yeah, I haven't been to Sweden before, but like, yeah, man, I gotta try their ice cream. They have ice cream on a stick. They have ice cream in a waffle trumpet cone. They got they have ice cream in a pint.
And all protein stuff, right?
Like, yeah. This is all because their whole theme is no added sugar.
Right.
And so none of these products have added sugar. And like their bar, that's 20 grams of protein for, I think it's around 200 calories. Some of the flavors are under 200.
Really?
So these products, like, they taste amazing, and their macros are like on point. You're not taking 50 extra calories to have good flavor.
That's
These
great.
guys, but I think that's what you get in Europe. You
Yeah.
get, because everyone's not making the same kind of bar. Everyone's bar's very different.
Yeah.
But
So we have followers from the UK and Italy, and I think we have like Finland and Sweden that are very constant on the channel. So I wanna hear them in the comments below what they think. Which one is
every time I've talked to someone, like, I feel like they didn't want me to try the Bear Bells bar. I got the sense that, like, they just didn't mention it, and then when I tried it, they're like, "Oh yeah, that one's pretty good." Oh yeah, they're like, "That's been like the golden child of Europe since it launched," and I was like, "How did I not know about this until I actually tried it?"
Shame on them, man. Shame on them.
It's a crazy good bar, and they do some good stuff, and they're growing. From what I see, they're growing into more parts of the world, or they're trying to.
Maybe someone will bring them to the US. I mean,
It's a hard. I've heard it's tough. I've heard it's tough to get stuff into the US. So I mean,
tough.
I imagine they'll probably
Also
just
price.
Yeah, that's another thing. Yep.
I mean, but you can manufacture locally. I mean, as long as you have the formula, it shouldn't be like a big deal. Also, what I liked about the so you call them bear bells?
Yeah, I called them barbells myself, but then someone like, when I said, "Oh yeah, I like the barbells protein bar," and they're like, "Oh yeah, that Bear Bells protein bar is nice." So I was like, "Shit, am I saying it wrong?" I mean, there is an E in there, so it is technically Bear Bells. It just didn't make any sense, but Bear Bells is what I've been told is how they say it.
I'm gonna call them barbell, and no one can stop me. So I really like the packaging.
Oh yeah, they
beautiful. It looks like the MRE bar a bit.
Their marketing is so good, and like when you go to the expos, they're so like, I don't know how to say, like upper class fancy. Like when you give you stuff, they give you like bags that you would kind of get like,
really Gucci,
like nice cardboard bags like that you would get from like a fashion store. So they pull out the experience beyond just the bar. They go all out on packaging, marketing. It's they're a good brand. Yeah. And ever since I tried their bar, it's no one has sort of been able to get close to that one for me.
And at least on the shelf when I saw them, it wasn't that expensive. It felt like the same price as the.
No, it was. It's crazy cheap. If I recall, it was like between €1 to €2 there or something on sale.
Yeah, I think something like that. €2.
Like, that's cheap. That's like, I don't know the exact conversion, but it's around
about. It's cheap for sure. For Europe, it's cheap, and it's comparable to what you're paying here in the US in dollars for a bar on the shelf. So.
And you get it at the supermarket, you get it at the gas station. It's.
Yeah. I lived on them in Iceland. I had shitloads of them in Iceland. That was carrying me in Iceland. For sure. In Iceland specifically, that was the only cheap shit there because the rest is super expensive in Iceland.
Yeah, I didn't really see any other brands outside of Nocco and Bear Bells. Like those two guys, they were pretty much in a lot of places.
It is crazy. So maybe just to round up the Olympia experience. So what else was like? What surprised you in this Olympia this year? Beyond the fact that you saw it like dwindling down and maybe less crowded, and you're saying, okay, this is less. There's less action. Was there something from a supplement industry perspective that you came out of that show and saying, "Huh, I didn't see that coming," or it was mostly like the same?
The amino energy carbonated. When I was talking to the marketing lady from Optimum, she was like, "Oh, we got this." And typically they bring things to the Olympia that are like a month or like I've seen before. And she's like, "Oh, we got this, and we've got this as well," and didn't make a big deal about it. And I was like, "How have I not known about this?" And she was just like, "Oh yeah, we're launching this here." And I was like, "Oh wow." I was like, I don't know, like it's the first big carbonated amino in the US as far as I know. Like, I mean, it's a big deal, especially coming from Optimum. Like, when they did their almonds and they did their protein bars, these are categories people have kind of touched on, but this is kind of a different, instead of doing an energy drink, they've done amino in it. So, I mean, it's, I wouldn't be surprised if you see more big guys, more smaller guys following on and jumping in, because, if Optimum's doing it,
they're opening the category for sure. I mean, it's a big push.
Smart brand. So, I mean, it'd be interesting to see, what big guys, if any big guys follow.
That's interesting. It's actually strange the way that they launched it. To be honest, like I didn't know about it also until I saw it on
It
Stack.
just came out of nowhere, man. I was like, they had the protein almonds and the thing of chocolate peanut
Yeah,
butter,
new flavor, but that's okay. I mean,
and they had the chocolate hazelnut whey protein. And I was like, yeah. And then that one was like, it wasn't even first at the expo. They had it like in the middle, like second, I think it was. And I was like, man, you should be throwing this like bangs over there with four, like all these dancers like throwing cans out. And I'm like, and these guys have just got it sampling in little shot glasses. And I was like, man.
Yeah,
It's just
it's a bit of an old-fashioned marketing style for Optimum Nutrition compared to the.
I was like, I expected a big deal because I mean, I think it is a big deal. I think it'll be interesting to see how it goes, see how it's received when it hits stores and stuff.
Yeah. It's interesting. Yeah, I think that is something that I think a lot of us and definitely the people watching this didn't even see coming and didn't know it was coming until you talked about it. Which is just very strange around that. And I agree with you. It is sort of a category thing. You know, people launch energy drinks which are total replicas of Bang, and they make more noise than they made with this, which is a category maker, right?
Yeah.
Which is really strange.
So, I mean, it's it was a surprise. Outside of that, I don't think I saw much. Muscle Tech had quite a bit. Like, I was surprised they had natural versions of products. They had a few new ones. They had this cool little, it was like a 6-serving carton protein drink. So instead of being like a protein RTD with a single serving, it was like 6 servings. So it was quite a big one. But so it's
what, you open it, you drink it, you close it?
Yeah, that's the idea. It's quite big. It's quite big, and I was like, and they didn't tell me much about it. Then I saw it, and I was like, what the hell is that? Like this giant, well, not giant, but like, you know, significantly bigger than an RTD. And I was like, and he's, oh yeah, that's like I thought it was 5 or 6 servings. It might be, it's around there. So it's got like a good amount of protein in it. It was just, yeah, I hadn't seen that before. I didn't see that one coming. And that was pretty cool.
That is interesting.
But outside of that, I wouldn't.
More of the same.
Yeah, I mean, you had typical products. You had a few like new flavors. You had Quest was sampling their new cookie flavor.
Yeah. Was it the Snickerdoodle one, right?
Yeah, it was a Snickerdoodle one.
Yeah, I reviewed it on the channel here a few days ago with my son. It was okay.
Yeah, it's okay. It was the usual stuff. But like I said, there didn't seem to be a whole lot of like brands. Like the top floor was pretty good, and then as you got back, it got a little bit quieter.
Right.
But I mean, it was there weren't too many. It was busy with excitement from the big brands. So there's definitely a lot of new stuff, but
I see at least in the some of the categories that I've been engaged with. You know, I actually get to engage way more with the small brands than the big brands, right?
Oh,
so the small brands come, probably yourself also, like say, because they want the exposure, they want to talk, they want they want to get on the channels and get their name out. And I see, like, at least in the pre-workout space and to some extent in the nootropic space, I see, and even in design, I see more innovation coming from companies like MyoBlocks, right? Which I know that you're engaged with also, both on the design and just the look and feel, and also on the product and even the go-to-market. Like I love the MyoBlocks, different flavor, you know, like the limited edition stuff, and just super innovative. It's very hard. I guess that at some point, like from that perspective, it's very hard to innovate when you're Optimum Nutrition, you know, this size, and to do all this super cool extreme stuff, almost like take chances. It's harder to do when you're so big. And I think
in previous years, it was like I said, smaller brands were getting so big quickly, like, because they could do like a new pre-workout every like few months. They would have a new version, a new product, and like they were pumping them out. And I feel like that's why a lot of other brands have just started up really small. And I mean, it's good because, you know, it's like when you see a new pre-workout come out every single week or day, it'll encourage you to want to try a different pre-workout each month, each time, just to try the latest and greatest, like a new iPhone or anything.
Yeah, it is true.
I feel like with these bigger brands, they're doing pretty damn good. Like I've seen a lot of them pick it up, like Cellucor. has launched quite a few new products this year. Muscle Tech has always done quite a few, but Optimum, they've done a lot in the past 2 years.
Like it.
Animal as well. Animal, I can't remember. I'd seen them new products for a while, and then this year they've got, you know, the snack. They got the Animal Energy. They did Animal Meal. So I mean, they're pumping out too. So a lot of these big brands, I see them like just, you know, starting to pick up, starting to realize, and starting to hit with excitement, new products.
I think they're getting pushed by Primeval Labs, Redcon One, all these, you know, like mid-size, I would say, you know, that are coming and pushing from the bottom with a lot of innovation and getting, you know, these athletes are, and it just like there's a lot of buzz. You almost have to get to move your ass, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's these, like I said, you see these guys launching new products, flavors almost every month, and so I mean, and I feel like consumers are reacting to that. So they're like, oh, these guys got a new pre-workout, then I got a cool limited edition flavor, then they have a cool pump pre-product that stacks with it. And then, like, you know, and because these guys are competing with other people that are doing the same. They're like launching new flavors, limited flavors, limited edition. So I mean, it's I feel like it's good though, because, you know, with the heavy competition comes heavy innovation, and I feel like that's a good idea. It's exciting.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. I mean, we started after you, but since I've been here, it's just like, even comparing to 3 years ago, it's mind blowing. How much stuff there's out there versus like 3 years ago. Just mind blowing. It's there's like it feels like there's 20 times the brands, 100 times the products, and like 7,000 times the flavors. Like
it's great. I love it. Like I remember, I think back in the day, you had, like, brands could launch like one pre-workout and it could dominate and it could kill everybody, and then like someone else would launch one next year.
Right
now, it's you know, it's just no one can dominate anymore. No one can launch a product and dominate for a good amount of time.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that change to enable that, I think, and maybe in the next podcast we'll talk about how the marketing landscape changed and how getting to consumers changed, because I think that's a big chunk of it. Anyway, so I mean, man, we definitely need, we'll continue doing this because this is super fun, and we're both talking about shit that we actually like, which is which is actually great for a change. And
you need this stuff when you're you know, own business, when you're working for yourself.
Right.
You can't always talk to yourself.
I have a couple of friends that I actually acquired through Fitness News, just followers that actually live nearby me. Actually, one of my best friends right now, Jamie, if you're seeing this video, is like, we talk every day, like, and we just connected through Fitness News. Like, he was following and said, "Oh, you're here, you're in Baltimore." "Yeah, I'm in Baltimore." "Oh, shit." And so I get to talk with him. We chat every day, how many MRE bars we ate, and synthesis. Such meathead conversations day in, day out. Anyway, so here's what we'll do. So we'll definitely do this again, guys. So subscribe to the channel. Obviously, go to Stacked. If you guys like supplements, seriously, I mean, you probably know Stacked. If you don't know, then shame on you, because then you don't know supplements. Because that's where I get my news. And actually right now, if you guys that are visiting Fitness News know that on our site, we actually have a ticker with the Stacked News going to Stacked, because people just like to see what's new. And that's the place to see what's new. And so Shane, I guess we'll see you again here in next week, hopefully. We'll talk about some other stuff. We'll bring it in. People, thank you very much for joining us for this one. This is the first one. You're seeing Shane's face. You've seen my ugly face a lot of times, but Shane, obviously, is the pretty face here. I'm the brain. No, I'm joking.
Third time I've been on camera.
There we go. But we'll see you again here soon. So thanks very much for joining, and see you next week, eh?